All right, camera shut off at 30 minutes. Yo,
Oh, yeah,
we spoke for like 30 more minutes, and just to summarize those 30 minutes, I was just talking about, because we're talking about the learning process and how what we're learning about ultimately in life, and how learning one thing leads you to learn
yeah,
more things and learning how to learn.
yeah,
And I'm asking, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, what are we supposed to be doing here on Earth? Like if we're learning these things, because I'm paranoid. Like, am I learning the wrong thing? Like, what is the thing we're supposed to be learning how to do? And it was how to raise a kid.
yeah. Because you raise yourself, you know what I mean, and then you get to a point where you just be really attractive, to where you're gonna attract a teacher or whatever, or a child, and then you can experience the greatest machine. You know what I mean? You experience it from the first person, through creation, to having a child and priming yourself to be attractive enough to usher in a teacher like that, and then you experience them in the third person, and I feel like that's like the ultimate thing. It's not really glittery, when you talk about it, but I think it's the true gold, and the way you can really learn yourself in an intimate way, and in a gentle way. You know what I mean? It's other ways. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily have a child, but I think the process of making yourself attractive like that, retaining seed, you know, 20, 30 years. Like I said, if you never, I don't know if it got recorded, but if you never busted a nut for 30 years, you would be super attractive as a male, and you would attract the infrastructure to take care of your child to where you wouldn't have, your life would be your work.
The physical infrastructure and the metaphysical infrastructure.
Yeah, your life would be your work. You wouldn't have to have a boss. You may have a brotherhood and you work together, but you don't ever work for someone. You work with people, and I think that would be the ideal circumstance. And given what it is now, the trauma and everything that has been done now, I think you just picking up the pieces. You catch it at 20 years old, maybe at 40, you ready to do something like that. And one way or another, if you prime yourself in that way, you're gonna get the experience. I just think there's so much separation between adults and children, to where adults aren't being really acquainted with children. It's just because there's so much perversion in the society that if you had a child, you wouldn't just trust some random adult talking to your child really for any significant amount of time by themselves. Like, you're like, wait,
No.
you're just a stranger. You know what I mean? But because there's just no trust.
That's the separation.
There's no trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just because you can't trust them at this point. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, if you were just really attractive, then you would attract other people, attract a brotherhood. Then they would have, the kings would take care of themselves, and the queens would be okay, and then they would all pop out children. Everybody would have children that can interact, and then you have uncles and cousins, and
for the primal lesson.
Yeah, and then these people would be able to really interact and learn themselves, and then it would be it'd be a complimentary experience. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of would be a physicist, and they would be all mathematicians and all that. Everybody would be able to teach each other that, because everybody would have different strengths, and everybody would teach each other different things. And you have a community, so you can have self-worth. You know what I mean? If you just have a kid and you just surrounding them around people in the school, 3,000 people in the school or something, or hundreds of people in the school, but they only have 100, or maybe like 2 or 3 real friends, maybe, if that, if they're lucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the conversation started, because I was like, how can you have a kid and be a dad and have a job?
Yeah, I don't think it's really conducive to really learning yourself, because you're just gonna miss all that experience. You're gonna miss those years with your child, and that's when you're really getting in touch with who you were at 9 months old, a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. If you are working that whole time, then you're just missing that. And then you probably have to have another kid. Then you probably miss that. And then you have even more responsibility in the physical world.
And if you're not situated with your own infrastructure, dependent on other ones, you can't give them that attention and time.
Yeah, so much ignoring is going to happen.
And that's the separation.
Yeah.
And shove them in the indoctrination camp, school.
Yeah, and then so it's just so much separation between, I feel like, adults and children, to where you just got just a society of broken children raising children, and
learning about throw off.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking, like, how
everything is distraction.
What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to be learning? Like, yeah, yeah, of course. Like, I'm not gonna get overwhelmed and try to do everything at once, like that electricity and making a house and like,
Yeah,
learning computer coding and all these things at once.
yeah.
But if I sit down and do those things and I don't learn myself through the channels of like,
That'd be a cakewalk though. If you were like born into that, if you're born into that, and your dad's like, and your parents and the people around you is like, yeah, here goes, you learning algebra the correct way, you learning language the correct way. Then it'd be all like a cakewalk. By the time you're 30, you're learning other shit that you know what I mean.
yeah, and but me being like I'm 26 and I'm like, what the fuck should I be focusing on? There's too much information to be going through, trying to catch up
Yeah.
on this shit. So that's why I'm asking, like, what really can we be focusing on? And that's why it's tough for me, yeah, to even sit in classrooms, learning about specific things that are important. But yeah, just out of order, I guess. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I guess learning your body and learning your body in a more natural environment. I think people can really, I think people undeveloped land is not as expensive as people think. You know what I mean? Like, you can get some undeveloped land like 3-4 acres for like 13 grand. You know what I mean? And I feel
in
like
certain areas that is
in,
like
cer-
tough.
in certain areas, yeah. Certain areas it costs more. Certain, but I feel like people could get land in different spots and just gradually piece it together. If they're working on the grid or whatever, just buy the land. You visit the land on the weekends or whatever, and then you get to a point where you spend vacations on the land, and you spend a month on the land, and then the more time you spend there, the more time that you'll figure out how to stay there. You know what I mean?
In the meantime, you're still learning things like how to fix your own car.
Yeah, all that shit. You know what I mean? Like I read 10 pages a day about just typical mechanics or typical,
bit by bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, and just because you go to school and you learn, you got like 8 classes in a day or 4 or 5 classes in a day, depending on your school system. I don't know, but you're retaining a lot of information at that time. You know what I mean? You kind of just have to get back into that space where you're just like, man, I can learn a lot and with a single day, and just fit this space in to where I apply my will to learn a little something. You know what I mean? Outside of just in a practical sense too. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you can learn all the conceptual or intangible things. That's all that stuff is stuff that you should expose yourself to, but you want to be able to have practical knowledge so that you can navigate your physical body in this physical experience away from need.
Needing intangible things.
Yeah, and then you just need yourself, and then other people that are themselves. You need each other. Then that's fine. You know what I mean? I feel like that's okay. Then I don't feel like it would be like a burden at that point. Then everybody just works together because everybody has the same common.
And they help each other get
thing.
Independent.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, because it's like I don't want my neighbors to be doing bad because then they'll need more from me. So I want to help them to where they don't need nothing, to where they can just manifest more wealth. Like like I was saying before it cut off, probably like if a man just was attractive his whole life, not releasing seed and just becoming more and more attractive, and just generating, just attracting all that consciousness, then he would it would just, I feel like everything would just be laid out kind of for you in a sense where you see like you have more, you feel like you have way more time. Because if you're just not busting nuts, then you're not eating certain ways. You're not sleeping in certain ways. You're not recovering from busting nuts. You're not fucking with your attraction points. And now you're like attracting all these different people and different things, and to where and you're learning from all these people and different things, to where now you're like, man, I don't need to, I don't need to pay for somebody to fix my car. I don't need to work to get the money to get somebody to fix this or do that. So it's like
I can just do it.
Yeah, and then. Now you're just saving that money that you would get. Now you do it for other people because it's easy to you or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and if you know like 5-6 things, you know how to weld, you know how to fucking whatever.
Lay concrete.
Yeah, you know how to do all this stuff. Then you can kind of pick your things that you want to do. You're like, this week I'll do this job, and then I'll schedule this job for next week. Schedule these jobs for the next week, and then you really get burnt out. Like, you know what I mean? If you're just a plumber and that's all you know how to do, then you're just going to hate plumbing probably a year in, 2 years in, 5 years in. You're going to be like, fuck, I can't stand the same shit every day, literally. And so then, so if like carpentry or something, then you could just like jump off of plumbing for a week and just do that. You know what I mean? Jump off of this and do, just be an electrician for a week or whatever, and I think that you wouldn't get burnt out, and then your work would stay good. You wouldn't have do no bad jobs. You wouldn't try to cut corners, and then you just have build up a good rapport. And I think then you're just functional in the society and the community that you're creating, and in the fake society, and so that you can I guess be a grapevine to the people that want to step away. I think because it's always going to kind of be like grapevines going in both directions. Like you can go further into the matrix or further into nature. I think it's always going to be there.
Though there's these paths, and when things are, are falling apart, if it was like some sort of collapse, where's your leverage, and it's through learning tangible stuff like that.
Yeah, what I mean. If you had a place that you could stay, and that you growing crops that can, at this point now, there's a lot of that stuff's coming back on its own. Like you grow something in an area long enough, some of that stuff's just gonna come back on its own. And then you're just doing less and less. You don't have to do as much. Then you have children that know what doing the similar things. Or you have a brotherhood, you're all doing similar things. Then it's just even. It becomes even easier. If you try to do it all at once, like you're saying, and you just try to jump right into farming, it's like, man, this is an art and a science, man. You can't just jump out of working at Wendy's, and
especially if I don't know myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't know you don't know your learning styles. You don't know the way you can learn, and the way you can expose yourself to information, and where you can retain it and apply it. If you don't know yourself, so you want to know yourself, so you know the best way you can learn, so that you can expose yourself to that fashion of learning, and then
just whatever works for you, whatever suits you.
Yeah, and then enhance your reality. You know what I mean? To where there's no need. You know what I mean? Because then that's just so unattractive to need like that. Like what I mean? Like if something breaks in your car or whatever it is, and you're just like, God damn, I don't know what to do. I need to get this money to do this or whatever. Or if you just knew how to do the things, then your body's gonna be at ease. Like, okay, and put one foot in front of the other and do what I got to do and get this over with and get to Z, from A to Z. You know what I mean? Take this process and just do it, because I don't need. So just really put your body, your nervous system in a totally different space,
where you can just give all yourself to what you're doing.
Yeah, and then you're just attracting wealth. You're not spending your energy or your money on things, and then you have so much security, and the security attracts women and other people that are insecure and all that. Like, now you can work with people, or other secure people too. They're now wanting to work with you more, because they see, like, all right, I know you won't snake me because you're secure, so we can work together. I know you don't need to take this from me. I don't have to worry about you stealing or something, because you're secure. And so I think that's it. It's just exuding that security into the ether. I think that's it. I think that's really like what it's all about. You know what I mean? More and more security in every way, to where you know how to. And if things do break down, you're like, yo, I know all the plant life. I know how to.
You know how to build it.
I know how to build shit. I know how to forage. I know how to do everything. You know what I mean? I know how to, distill water. I know how to fucking shit. Some people
like vapor distill, yeah.
Yeah, I know how to trap methane so that I can have natural gas, whatever, all that shit. You know what I mean? The more that you know how to do things, you just like. I don't think you look at things like problems. They're just challenges at that point. You're like, okay, I know how to do this. So.
Fun challenges.
Yeah, it's a test that I guess my truest self wanted me to go through. It's like, and I know the answers to it, so why would I fight it?
Good question. Yeah. Well, I mean, I just cleared like 3 ounces of mushrooms in the previous video. But we'll keep that on the Patreon. It's on the Patreon.
Okay.
This is a cool short one, like 14 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, keep it light. We have another extended conversation in a few hours.
All right. Right.
After more processing.
Yeah. For sure. For definitely. I mean, yeah. I guess we'll regroup and come back with something. I don't really know.
We will. I got mad notes on the phone. I just can't get to the notes.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Because it's on my phone.
Yeah.
But I got some more stuff. So
yeah.
Bless. We'll bless up. We'll thank everybody. Shouts out to all the supporters.
Yep. Till next time.
Blessed. All right.